I am excited about today. We are going to test some Lightwish watercolor art brushes that were sent to me to try. And I am excited because in my sketchbook, as you know, I have this gouache palette and I've been struggling with brushes that really pick up the paint. And so I'm hoping that these are going to be great. There's 8 watercolor brushes. They were sent by Lightwish, and we're just going to test them out and see what we think and see how I think I might use them in the future. So let's do it. That's fun. It's fun. Good to see you. The brushes come in this tube. Interestingly, it says this product is recommended for professional use in ages 14 plus. I'm not really sure why that would be, but here we go. The package that they came in actually was damaged when it had like a big rip in it, but this package seems okay. We're just gonna open it up. I have to say the tube is kind of cool. In general, that's kind of a cool packaging, right? That's just kind of neat. So, oh goodness, oh my gosh, look. So we have 8 brushes and from varying sizes. Do they say? Oh, they do say. So this is they all have these lids, which I don't think I'll use again, but kind of cool for protection for sure. But let's see what we've got. We've got a 6, a 5. Oh, that's such a difference, isn't it? It's funny. Brush numbers. There seems to be not a lot of rhyme and reason. This is a 4. So if we go 6, 5, 4, guessing, yep. Here we have a 3. This must be the 2. Yeah, 2. And a 1. What is this? These two seem different. They're a different type of, look at that. So this is sort of a, I don't know, like a glossier, it's a round tip on the bottom and it's different. And then these are, look more like liners in a way. And so they are different, but that's cool. That is very neat. So there's the set. Don't know if they'll go back in this container, but this is really nice. It's very pretty. They're all very pretty. And then I thought we would just test them in my sketchbook and see what we think. First do just some basic lines and shapes and then try to make something out of it. So let's see how we get on. First I'm going to, here's my gouache palette. I'm going to spray this with a little water so that we can reconstitute it a little faster. I think that helps. And I think I'll go wash this off in the meantime. I have found using the lid as a palette has been pretty helpful. I've got my water here and my sketchbook. Let's just try it. Maybe we'll try it. Let me get this other sketchbook. So this is my color notebook. Let's use this first to try it, just the brushes, and then we'll use this other sketchbook to try to paint something. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So this giant wash brush is just, you know, if you were doing a really large watercolor, I think that would be very helpful to be able to get down a lot of color. Yeah, it's really... Yeah, you can see it's just able to take so much. Yeah, that's great. Or if you wanted to, you know, watercolor has that amazing thing where you can put the water and then put the color. And this allows you to put so much water down that you could do really large shapes with it. Yeah, that's very cool. That is very cool. This is the next size down, which is a 5. I could see myself reaching for this size more frequently. They have really nice tips to them. So you get an interesting, like, thinner line, but then if you want to, you can make a thicker line. I think that's, yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. I have some other, like, Chinese calligraphy brushes that seem similar in a way. So it feels like that's sort of what that's emulating. This is the 4. All brushes come with a little bit of sizing on them to keep their shape. And so you're always having to take that sizing off. They'll get softer in use. Let's see. This just has a nice feel, this 4. I like that it can put down so much color. You know, little brushes that they really struggle with that. That was the 3. Let's try the 2. You know, I've struggled with this gouache palette because I like, being an acrylic painter, I like a lot of paint coverage. And so these larger brushes I can see are kind of allowing to do that, which is great. And maybe I could just take one of them to use. And then here's the 1, which might become the go-to. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's got a really nice, let's see. Oh, look, it can even do like a really pretty fine. Yeah, that's really nice. Let's look at those 2 that look a little bit like a liner brush. See what they're capable of. Which I think, yeah. Oh, that's fun. You could do some real drawing with these. And I think that would be, yeah, that's very, very fun. And then there's an even thinner one. Let's try that. It's even thinner. Oh, I do like that. It's like having a calligraphy brush in a way. Yeah, I think I could see that being just fun in general to allow some, you know, interesting marks. Yeah, okay. Okay, I guess this is the idea. So these are the brushes. And then this is just sort of the idea of like how much color you could put on. So let's try a spread of maybe, let's do some flowers and some fruits and see what we get on with. Oh, I love that though. That's really fun. This needs to dry, obviously. When you can pick up that much water, you are having that much water. So thing to think about while I'm using them. All right. This, of course, is not watercolor paper, and so it doesn't have the same, ability that watercolor paper has to work with the watercolor and gouache paint. The paint stays more on top, but this is what I use. So I wanted to try it using, what I really use, as opposed to, just an idea. Let's do some abstract shapes we'll make a little bouquet, I think, over here. Let's see how this plays like that. I've been intrigued recently with the idea of using watercolor to lay down shapes and then kind of drawing over those shapes. And so I think this might feed some of that interest. We'll see. Oh, there is really, it does hold a lot of water, so much more water than my other brushes. That is nice, because the more water and the more pigment, the more, it just really shows up on the page, which is always what I'm looking for, is good coverage. I'm not a subtle painter, I am definitely more of a abstract-y, kind of loose, and it needs to be able to do that. Oh yeah, this is really nice. It holds all that paint, so I didn't dip it back in the paint. So that's cool. That's very cool. Let's try over here. Let's just see if we can do some sort of a strawberry shape, which might not look like it at first, but I promise there'll be strawberries in the end. I don't know, our strawberry season is kind of already over. Of course you can get strawberries, but like regional strawberries, they're at the very beginning of the summer, and we are now more in watermelon and stone fruit. Okay, which I know you're thinking that does not look like a strawberry, but I promise it will. And let's see, let's put some oranges in here. Yeah, I do like the way that it can handle that much color. Yeah, that's just great. That is. So part of my frustration with watercolor really is that it doesn't harness enough color in the brush. And so you are left with sort of wimpy looking paintings, and I don't know, that's just not, for me, that's not ever going to be what I'm looking for. I want sort of vibrant, bright, and yeah, this does do that. I also like that because they're sort of that Chinese calligraphy type brush with the point like that, that I could probably make perfect lines, but I don't have to, and there's a looseness and freshness, and that is really also intriguing to me, to be able to do that, to be able to bring that element into this is pretty spectacular. Let's try to get some greens in on the bouquet side. What I got is, this palette's somewhat new to me, so I'm working with it too. Like, what are the colors in this? Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. And it's what I had. Remember, I didn't build this palette. I had gotten sets, and these were not like, these are just what's in the set. And so, yeah, I have uncertainty about whether I like that. So I've stayed with the same brush, and I love that I can get these really sort of thin lines. Let's try one of those liner brushes though and see what we can get from that. I bet it's even thinner. Oh yeah, see, and I'm holding it really far, which allows me to have a really nice looseness to the experience. Oh, I really love the delicate lines that it's capable of doing. That's something I miss in acrylic, is that I often can't, it's hard to get, it can be harder to get those delicate lines. Yeah, that is very pretty. Let's try to put some leaves on the strawberries. The stem? Oh yeah, see? Yeah, very painterly. Being able to hold that brush so far away is great. Yeah, this is great. That really tiny, if I can get some dark. Oh yeah, and so delicate. Oh, I think I have found something that I really love. Huh, who knew that the brush could make such a, well, you probably did. If you're a watercolor artist, you're saying, of course it's the brush. Of course it's the brush. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the brush. Oh yeah, that is so fun to me. Let's see if we can put some of those dots on the strawberries. Yeah. So what I like about these is that it holds a ton of pigment, and that just, for me, makes it so much more pleasurable. I also love that there's a looseness and an uncontrolled aspect to it. And the thing that I don't love about watercolor, or had never, it never appealed to me, is that it felt very like controlled, and a lot of skill and technique, which I appreciate, but it wasn't something that I was interested in doing. And so, learning all of it just felt very technical, and I really want like the ability to be loose and fresh. And so to see that this gives me that capability is really quite something. Yeah, it kind of changes how I feel about watercolor, actually. That says a lot. Because that's what I'm looking for. It's very loose, very, very loose. Let's try a little bit of lettering and see. Holding it at the very end again to promote that loose ability. Those look more like peaches. I think that's what we should call them. Let's see. It would be more in line with what is ripe right now anyway, so. Oh, I love just the ability to be loose like that just is fantastic. Put in another little strawberry right there. Maybe put in, strawberries have those really pretty white flowers. And I'm using that liner brush for that, but I could use a different brush. So let's pull a different brush. Maybe the number 1. Yeah, it's got more of a, you know, it can hold more pigment. So it gives that opportunity, and you're like, those flowers are white. Yes, they are. We'll go ahead and put a little blue just so you can see them a little bit better. When they dry, we can put a little center in them, and then go ahead and do a little. Oh yeah, it's just so fun to work with. These brushes are so fun to work with. That's great. Just a little jar. Those are so fun. They're just, yeah, those are great. So I think this is probably dry. Nope, still a little wet, but you can just see you can get so much coverage with this large brush. So if you were using it on a really large piece of watercolor paper, you'd be able to put so much water and pigment down. That's what these larger brushes just really allow you to do, which is fantastic. And then of course for sketchbook work, all of these smaller brushes really allow for, you know, more, you know, smaller work, which is really, it's just so great. And I just love the ability to be loose, but still get a lot of pigment down. And oh, I love them. Yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun. And yeah, I hope that you will take a look at them. I'll put the link in the description so you can see. I have other products from Lightwish, and I have been, you know, surprised at how good they are. They weren't a company that I had heard of before. They do carry the Paul Rubens brand of, I think that's his name, of watercolor, which I don't have, but it is, it's just really nice materials, really nice to work with. And I love that my style of being a little bit freer and a little bit looser is possible using brushes that hold more pigment. So that is fantastic, and I'm so thrilled. So thank you to Lightwish, and for you, I appreciate you watching these types of videos and being with me in the studio. And whatever you're doing, I hope that you're enjoying it. And remember, you're never wasting paint. And I just hope that you will just get out your supplies. And even if you're not doing it in the prescribed way, just make marks. Just do it your way. I think that is what we're supposed to be doing. So thanks again, and I hope you have a great time in your studio, whatever that looks like.